girls, how you've been? Today we're going to start a new lesson in chapter 2, which is lesson 3, that talks about linear functions and slope-intercept form. Now we're going to know what is a linear function and what's the slope-intercept form. Okay, what is a slope first of all? What is a slope and how to calculate a slope of a line? Okay, the slope of a non-vertical line is the ratio between the vertical change to the horizontal change between 2 points. So here, for example, you have this point and you have this point, and we make a line between them. What's the slope of this line? It means you're going to calculate the vertical change over the horizontal change between these 2 points. You can calculate slope by finding the ratio of the difference between the y coordinates to the difference in the x coordinates for any 2 points on the line. Okay, so now how can we find a slope between these 2 points? We're having this equation: the slope equals the vertical change over the horizontal change. It means the difference between the y coordinates over the difference between the x coordinates, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Girls, always when you start here with y2 minus y1, you're going to start with x2, okay? So it won't be incorrect, because if you're going to start y2 minus y1 then x1 minus x2, you're going to have a wrong answer, like in negative or positive answer, okay? So this is how we find the slope. Let's now start our examples here. What is the slope of a line that passes through the given points? We're having 1, 2, 3, 4 examples. Okay, so we're going to solve them all together. Okay, so now let's continue our finding the slope. First of all, let's write the slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, we have to memorize this equation, so it's going to be easy for us to find the answer directly. So here, let's start with this example here. We're having this is point 1 and point 2. So let's say this is x1 and y1, and this is x2 and y2. Okay, now we're going to find the slope for this. So the slope equals y2, which is 4, minus y1, which is 7, over x2, which is negative 2, minus 3, which is plus 3. So S equals 4 minus 7, it's going to be equal to negative 3, and negative 2 plus 3, it's 1. So the slope that we have here is negative 3. It means that we're going to move 3 units up, down, because it's negative, down. This is W, I guess. 3 units down because it's negative, and 1 unit to the, because this is y, so you're going to think about downward or upward, and this is x, so you're going to think about left or right. So because it's positive, you're going to move 1 unit to the right. Okay, all of you understood that this is supposed to be right. Okay, so now we got the slope here. If I asked you how many units downward or upward, you're going to tell me negative 3 units downward and 1 unit to the right. If I ask you for the slope, you're going to give me like negative 3. This is the final answer here. Okay, so now let's solve the second example we have here. Let's say this is, as we said, this is x1 and this is y1, and this is x2 and this is y2. Okay, so let's find the slope. Girls, it does not matter if you start with y1 or x1, okay? But when you start with a point from here, you have to start also in the denominator with a point from here. So now, for example, let's start here with x1, okay? It's going to be like 3. Oh, sorry, I mean y1. It's going to be 1 minus 1 over 3 minus 4, which is plus 4. It means S equals 0 over 3 plus 4, 7. Again, in the denominator here is 0, so the answer is going to be 0. It means there's no slope. It means the line is perfectly horizontal. Okay, let's check our answers. Here we said we're having x2 minus x, we has negative 3 over 1. That's right. The slope of the line that passes through negative 7 and negative 3 and 7 and negative 2 and 4 is negative 3 over 1 or negative 3. Here, the slope of the line that passes through these is 0 over negative 7 or 0. So our answers here are correct. Let's see the other two examples we have. We have these two examples. Okay, let's solve them. Okay, so let's solve them together. Again, let me write the slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is the slope. Okay, now let's solve this together. Let's say this is 0.1 and this is 0.2. Okay, okay, so let's see. The slope here equals y2, which is 1, minus y1, which is negative 3. So y1 minus minus 3, which is equal to, this is minus y3, which is positive here, over 7 minus 7. So here it's going to be 1 minus minus 3, which is 1 plus 3, which is equal to 4. 7 minus 7 equals 0. Now when we have a 0 in the denominator, it's going to be undefined. Do you remember when we have, again, when we have a denominator of 0, it means it's undefined. Undefined. So the slope for this example is undefined. Now we're going to check what does undefined mean. So in example A, we had an answer, right, which is negative 3. So the slope is negative 3. In the example B, we had a slope of 0. It means the line is 100% a horizontal line. When we have, like here in problem C, when we have the answer, the slope is undefined, it means it's going to be a vertical line. A vertical line. Okay, now let's check this example that we have here. Again, let's say that this is 0.1 and this is 0.2. So the slope here is going to be slope equals y2, which is 1, minus y1, which is 4, over 8 minus 5. So the slope here is going to be 1 minus 4 equal to 3, negative 3 I mean, over 8 minus 5, which is equal to 3. So the slope here is going to be equal to negative 1. The slope is negative. It means, now we're going to see, it means it's decreasing. The slope is decreasing when you have it at negative. Again, if I asked you how many units to the upward or downward and how many units right or left, you're going to look at the y, when we have here y, so it means you're going to go up or down, right? So because it's negative 3, it's going to be 3 units downward. And here it's a positive 3, so it means to the left or to the right, it's going to be to the right. Again, girls, now we're having here 4 different answers for 4 different questions. Okay, here we're saying we had a positive answer, a positive slope, I mean, positive slope. This is the first answer that we have. The second answer we had is 0, slope equals 0. The third answer we had is undefined. Okay, you know what this is because I won't try the whole word. And the fourth answer we got a negative slope, right? Now what does each mean? When we have a positive slope, it means that the slope is increasing. How increasing? When we have a graph, okay, and we have a line, when it goes this way, it means it's increasing. Okay? Let's see the second here one. When you have a slope equals 0, it means it's horizontal line. It means when we have a graph, the line between these two, okay, just let me write them again. When we have a graph and we have 2 points, the slope between these 2 points is 0 because it's already a horizontal line. Okay? Now for the third one here, when we have an undefined, it means it's a vertical line. When we have a graph and when we have a vertical line here, this is supposed to be a vertical line. When we have a vertical line, it means the slope is undefined. And the last thing that we had is when we have a negative slope, it means the slope is decreasing. As if we have this graph and the slope is decreasing. Again, girls, you know when you increase something, you're going upward. When you decrease, you're going downward. So this is increasing and this is decreasing. Okay, so now let's have this summary. Let me show you the summary on the PowerPoint. Okay, so here we're having a positive slope. It means it's going, the line rises from the left to the right. This is the positive slope. Now for the negative slope, it means it's going, the line is falling from left to right. So this is a negative slope. And here the 0 slope, it means, for example, if I have this point over here and this point over here, the slope between them is 0, it means it's a horizontal line. When the slope is 0. Undefined slope is when you have a number, whatever number here, over 0. Let me say like a number over 0. It gives me a vertical line. This is a vertical line, so it has an undefined slope. So we have these 4 types of slope of a line. Okay? Now let's continue to the next point that we have here, which is what is a linear function and the slope-intercept form. Now, a function whose graph is a line, when it's a line, it's called a linear function. I guess all of you know what does a linear function mean, or you have like different types of function. You have a quadratic function, you have a, I can't remember other functions now, but like you're having different functions. One of them is the linear function, is when you have a graph as a line. Okay? You can represent a linear function with a linear equation. This is the linear equation. Girls, you have to memorize what is the linear equation here. Okay? Which is y equals mx plus b. Now I'm going to tell you each one what does it represent. A solution of a linear equation is any ordered pair of x and y that makes the equation true. A special form of a linear equation is called the slope-intercept form. We have a special form which is called the slope-intercept form. It means an intercept of a line is a point where a line crosses an axis. We have y-intercept and x-intercept. Y-intercept is when x equals 0, you're going to have the y-intercept. For example, here x and -2, right? This is going to be the coordinate of this. It's going to be like 0 and -2. So the y-intercept here is -2 because x is 0. The y-intercept here is -2. For the x-intercept, it's when y equals 0. So for example, here we have the x here coordinate is 4 and the y coordinate is 0. So this is called the x-intercept. Now here the slope-intercept form of any equation line equals y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. It means when x equals 0, you're going to have the value of y as b here. Okay? So every linear function or every linear equation, y and x stays as they are. And you're only going to substitute inside the m and you're going to substitute inside the b. unless if you need to graph, it's another thing. But like when I ask you for like the linear function, you're going to substitute in m, the slope, and you're going to substitute in b, which is the y-intercept. Let's go for examples that we have. Writing linear equation. What is an equation of the line where m equals 1 over 5 and the y-intercept is 0, -3? Okay, let's solve it together. We're going to have also here an equation, so we're going to solve these three equations now. These three examples, I mean now, okay? Okay, so now let's solve this together. They're asking for the linear equation. So again, we're going to plot the linear equation over here. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? Then we're going to substitute inside the m and the b to find the linear equation. So it's going to be as y equals, here m is 1 over 5 multiplied by x plus, what's the y-intercept that we have here? It's -3, so it's going to be -3. So for simplification, it's going to be y equals x times 1 over 5, which is x over 5, like to simplify it. You can't put it as it is, but like for more simplification, plus -3 is going to be -3. This is the linear equation that we have for this question. Let's check, are they asking for other things here or only the linear equation? No, they're asking only for the linear equation. Yes, as we got it over here, that's right. Y equals 1 over 5x minus 3. Let's go to the second example that we have here. What is an equation line? Look at the line shown in the graph. The y-intercept is the point where the line crosses the y-axis again. So how, if they just gave us this graph and they asked us to graph from it, okay, just let's solve it together. Okay, if they gave us this graph and they asked for the linear equation, which is again y equals mx plus b. Now we're going to find the slope from this graph and b from this graph, the y-intercept. So the easier thing here to find first is the y-intercept, because it's when x equals 0. So whereas x equals 0 and the line crosses the graph here, the axis, I mean the y-axis, it means it's the y-intercept. So it's going to be 0, 4. So b equals 4. Now we're going to find the slope here. Now the slope here, we're going to know what are these 2 points that we have here. This point is going to be 0, 4. This is 4. Okay, and this point is going to be 1, 1. Okay, from the graph we found it's 1, 1. Okay, 1, 1. So now we have the 2 points, so we can easily find the slope here. So again, the slope m, or the slope, is going to be equal y2 minus y1, which is, let's say 4 minus 1, okay, over 0 minus 1, 0 minus 1. It's going to be equal to 3 over -1, which is equal to -3. So now we found the y-intercept and we also found the slope. The only thing that's left for us is to substitute inside this equation. So it's going to be y equals -3 x plus 4. -3x plus 4. Let's check our answer. Here it's -3x plus 4. They found the slope using these 2 points, and obviously b equals 4. So this is our answer, which is correct. Let's go for the second question that we have here. What is the equation of the line if they gave us m equals 6 and y-intercept equals 5? Let's solve it together. So easily here we're going just to solve it, just to substitute y equals mx plus b. So y equals, which is m, which is 6, x plus, what's the y-intercept that we have here, which is 5. So 6x plus 5. This is y, okay, 6x plus 5. Let's check our answer. It's the same, 6x plus 5. So now we knew how to find a linear equation. Let's go to problem 3, writing equations in slope-intercept form. Okay, so the right the equation in the slope-intercept form. And what are the slope and the y-intercept? So they gave us this equation. We have to find the y-intercept and the slope. So we're going to write this equation in the slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Let's solve it together. Okay. So we have to change this into y equals mx plus b. Okay, y. Now we have to move everything away from y. So we're going to have as 5x. We're going just to flip this over here and this over here. So it's going to be negative 16 equals 4y. So to leave y alone, we're going to divide everything by 4. So it's going to be 5 over 4x minus 16 divided by 4 equals 4. So let me just write it here in order of y equals. So it's going to be y equals 5 over 4x minus 4. So they're asking for what's the slope and what's the y-intercept. So here, based on this that we have, we're going to have the slope as slope, which is m, equals to 5 over 4, and the y-intercept it's going to be as 0, negative 4. Okay, so this is how you change this equation into the slope-intercept form. Then you're going to find the slope and the intercept from it. Let's check this together. We said we moved everything away, then we divided everything by negative 4. We got y equals 5 over 4x minus 4. That's right. That's right, as we got. Then they're asking for the slope and the y-intercept. The slope here is 5 over 4 as we got, and y-intercept is 0, negative 4. That's correct. So now let's go for the second question that we have. They're asking for the same thing here, but like different numbers. Okay, so we have to change it again into y equals mx plus b. So we're going to move everything away from the y. So first of all, we're going to move this over here. It's going to be half y equals 3 over 4 x minus 1. Then we're going to multiply everything by 2 because here it's division. So we're going to move the half there, or we're going to multiply everything by 2. So it's going to be equal to y equals 6 over 4 x minus 2. So we can simplify 6 over 4 as 3 over 2. So it's going to be equal to 3 over 2 x minus 2. So if they're asking for the slope and the slope and the y-intercept, so the slope here is equal to 3 over 2, and the y-intercept equals, the y-intercept is 0, negative 2. Let's check our answer.